Alright, hey, what's up, guys? I'm back. So, my battery died. I had to go do some stuff. I had to go pick up my kids. So, it's early in the morning. It's like, I think it's almost 1. So, I'm going to put this out and finish off this lesson. Alright, so, when we left off on the video Myth Hunters. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Lex Will and King Drop 432, the Drop Radio. Let us find the truth. They help you find out a lot of this information. So when we left off in part 3 on the Myth Hunters, the curse of Montezuma's ghost. We're just gonna go back real quick and look at that real fast, and then we're gonna get right into it. All right, let's do it.
His reading led him to the events surrounding the downfall of the once mighty Aztec Empire. Although the Aztecs were renowned for ruthless cruelty and mass blood sacrifice, they initially welcomed the Spanish conquistador, Hernán Cortés. Cortés couldn't have timed his arrival better. It had been prophesied a white god would appear in 1519, and here he was, standing before them. The Spaniard wanted to see gold, and the obliging Aztecs showed their new god straight to their treasury. The conquistadors were staggered, and one of their number stated that all the riches of the world were to be found in that single room. When the inevitable hostilities broke out, the Spanish murdered Montezuma and made straight for his treasure room. But the vaults were empty. The treasure was gone. But the Spaniards hadn't traveled this far to simply give up on the biggest cache of booty they'd ever laid their eyes on.
Biggest cache of booty.
And when it came to cruelty, the conquistadors could teach the Aztecs a trick or two. They wanted that treasure and were prepared to do whatever it took to find out what it was. It was said that not a single Aztec cracked. Freddy then read later accounts, stating that the treasure had been spirited away to the north, to the fabled original homeland of the Aztecs, Aztlan, located in what is now the southwest of the USA. Legend has it that the Aztec warriors were sealed up with the treasure in a cave. Their mission, to protect their emperor's treasure from anyone who broke
Now
into
guess where this is. This is in Utah,
and
people.
now, at last,
If you don't
Freddy
believe
realized the
Utah is
meaning of his
important,
vision.
then you ain't with it. Because
He was
I
convinced
wholeheartedly
he'd seen an
believe,
army of
man.
slaves
I put my
carrying
foot
the treasure
in.
trove as far north as the Colorado
I'm
River.
getting in shape. Correcting
At
my
that point,
mind.
the vision had blurred.
I'm
But
checking
then
my
one
family.
tantalizing clue was revealed.
You guys gotta get
Freddy
with it,
believed
man.
this was the marker pointing to the location of Montezuma's treasure.
He did have one
All right.
clue, and the clue he had was
Alright. So if you guys don't think that that's important, then you guys got something else coming. Because that's important. First of all, where did Montezuma send the people, the slaves, the armies? I believe it was in the hundreds of thousands to go to Aztlan. Guess where that at? That's Utah. Aztlan. Where did we go after the Exodus? In Numbers, it tells you, in Numbers 33, it tells you that we went out of Obath and to Ijabarim in the land of Moab and over against Jericho, near Mount Nebo, down below the Jordan. All these things can be found in Utah. And not just that, but they line up biblically. You can go to the map in the old world of where they say everything is, and you can look at the mountains and you line it up to where they describe it in the Bible, and it doesn't match up. It doesn't. So you gotta look at this again. It's all Utah, and the Aztecs will tell you. Why you think we don't know much about this history? Come on, the kind of stuff they tell you on TV, you can see through it. So, if you didn't know, I'm not going to just put my thoughts in here. I'm going to show you guys evidence of how it's connected. So, let's get with it, alright? Alright, so if you can see right here, alright, this is Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramid. Alright, so the lighting sucks, but let me put you up close. Alright, so I'm gonna read it out because I got two books. Alright, so this is Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids by Peter Tompkins. Alright, so I don't know if you recognize that that person right there, but that's Ulysses S. Grant. When this book, and they're talking about Ulysses S. Grant, they're talking about him when he was the general and he was the commander of the military. This is before he was president. So see the part that I have that I have covered is what talks about what I want to get to, but I'm gonna start actually earlier around here, right under his picture. Alright, so owner of a estate of 7 million acres, larger than New Jersey, on which he kept 1.5 million head of cattle, while 95.5% of Mexico's rural families found themselves with no land. 10 million serfs were created, easily impressed into factories built by foreign investors. You gotta realize this. Go to your cities where you live. Look around. Is it your people? Are you? I'm talking about the Negro, the Afro Mexican, the Oceanic Negro. Do you own all the stores? Do you own all the land around? No. It's all about foreign. So, where the serfs were obliged to work for a pittance 14 hours a day, without even Sundays as automatic holidays. Recalcitrants, though technically free citizens, could be whipped for any infraction. Petty theft could draw 200 lashes. Women were strung up and syringed with chili water. If peons refused to give up the land, the rurals and federal soldiers moved in, raping and murdering. Let me repeat that. If peons refused to give up the land, the rurals and federal soldiers will move in, raping and murdering everyone in your village and your land. Stubborn Yaquis who showed title maps to their land signed by the King of Spain were rounded up and sold into slavery in the Yucatan. Sisal planters at 70 pesos a head, an extra profit for the scientificals. Many of the Yaqui women, like the Greek silhouettes in Byron's time, preferred to throw themselves with their babies into the sea. Now you gotta see, like, this was hell. They rather throw themselves in the sea. I mean, for petty thefts, women were getting strung up and syringed with chili water. They didn't want this anymore. This is what the Aztecs and the Mayan people had to go through. All right, now a lot of us like to separate ourselves. Go, oh, that's Mexicans. And well, Mexicans wasn't even created wasn't even here before, after 500 years ago. Like, that's a recent term. We weren't always called Mexicans. That's the term they gave us. You know, some of us, us Afro Mexicans and us Negroes, we're the real Aztecs and Mayans. So let me get to it. It's gonna be right here. Surviving Indians were left without woods, water, or any way of making a living off the land in the United States. General U.S. Grant announced to investors that 7 million Aztecs are waiting to build the railroads. Listen, U.S. Grant announced to investors that 7 million Aztecs are waiting to build the railroads. You know when they tell you that Asians built the railroads? You know when they tell you, look at your eyes, man. Is your eyes kind of Asiatic? It is, right? Did the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Bonaparte pictures on the walls of the pyramids, did they have Asianist eyes? And do they look like you? Do they have the same skin color as you and the hair as you? I believe so. Man, you're the Aztecs, dude. When they say Negroes built the railroads, that's you. When they say Asians built the railroads, that's you. When they talk about, that's why they don't have Orientals in Hell's Highway or Hell on Wheels, that railroad show. Yeah, they don't, because they don't have, my bad, but they don't have them on the show because they had a big controversy. You know why? Because they understand history. They know that there was less than 1,000 Asians or Orientals, and most of them were business owners, shop owners. Come on now. They were getting promoted over you. So let me continue. Are waiting to build railroads. The Rockefellers. You know all these names. Now listen to these names. Aldridges, Goulds, Harrimans, Guggenheims, and McCormick seized the opportunity to buy cheap land and to hire dirt cheap labor to operate railroad and mine concessions. The Creole Scientificals, acting as middlemen and legal advisors, amassed quick fortunes through large legal fees, stock manipulations, kickbacks, payoffs, and such subtle trickery as selling arms and ammunition to Indian rebels that government was officially exterminating. That sounds quite familiar to what happens today. Through millions vanished into the pockets of the scientificals, little of the wealth trickled down, so the middleman got rich. Practically nothing was spent on schooling or education. Real wages were reduced to less than they had been a century earlier under Spaniards. So the Americans were subjugating and marginalizing them even worse than the Spaniards did when they rocked them. So they getting rocked twice, you know what I mean? Why you think it's so bad, man? That's how they did us. That's how they did us, man. And if you look over here, it goes, this is page 119. It goes, Edward, King Edward, later Lord Kingsborough, Kingsborough took up the notion from Lachesis that the lost tribes of Israel had peopled Yucatan. Support for the Kingsborough version of the Mayan origin of the lost tribes of Israel also came from the Mormon story as told to the world by young Joseph Smith in 1827. But yet, all these places that they named in Utah, they trying to take credit for. They say they named it in 1850s. But yet, all these things were already known in the 20s. So don't let them fool you, man. When he was 15 years old, a figure appeared to him in a vision claiming to be Moroni, son of Mormon, sent from the presence of God during the second appearance when Smith was 18. Moroni informed where a number of gold plates were hidden containing writings in strange characters, which Moroni termed as revised Egyptian, according to Smith's translation of these plates. Where were the Israelites? Where did the Israelites learn? They learned in Egypt, man. What happened? They did pick the grass, and then when they left Egypt, they was doing cuneiform, right? So, oh shit. All right, so where am I? Israelites progenitors of Nephites who were led by Lehi, a Jewish prophet of the tribe of Manasseh, had landed on the shores of Yucatan sometime after 600 BC. So this is talking about a different tribe of Israelites coming in from the Yucatan around 600 BC. When the tribe was divided, the more unusual part of the Mormon version is that it tells how the Israelites came to America not via the Atlantic but the Pacific. So they're saying that this tribe of Manasseh came to the Yucatan via the Pacific. So that they're trying to say maybe, there's a connection to the Oceanic Negroes, but they're saying they believe that they came via that way. So now you got, I know personally there's several Israelite voyages to America. This is speaking to about one of them. So I mean, they understand your history, bro. I understand it wholeheartedly, man. If you don't believe me, you know what I mean. This is page 79. All right, 79 of Mexican pyramids. So first, I'm gonna read the side of it because it's interesting. According to Ordonez Nunez and the native Mexican sources, the Chivrim were Hivites, descendants of Heth, son of Canaan, grandson of Noah, expelled from Geth by the Philistines a few years before the Hebrews went out of Egypt. One of their tribe, Cadmus, was believed to be the son of Ogergs, who was on Mount Hermon beyond the Jordan, east of Canaan, and was, according to Ordonez, killed by Moses. Look at that. It said that this man was killed by Moses during the Exodus, which he dates at 1447 BC. So there we go. We got a date. 1447 BC, the tribe expelled by the Hebrews is said to have conquered Sidon and founded Tyre, from which Votan sailed from America. So don't be fooled, man. We was enslaved in Egypt, but we was enslaved in Persia, Rome, Greece. We was enslaved in all type, Babylon, America. So don't get fooled, man. Don't get it twisted. We the enslaved people, man. So let's go to here. So this is where I'm going to tell you. It's going to tell you about 5 times that these guys came back and forth from the old to the new countries. So let's go. Right here. 4 times Votan is said to have returned to his former home across the Atlantic known as Valum Chivum, which Ordonez eventually identified as the city of Tripoli in Phoenicia. After one of these return voyages, Votan is described as having to come to a great city where a magnificent temple was under construction, which was intended to reach the heaven. intended to reach to heaven, but was doomed by a confusion of languages. So doesn't that sound like the Tower of Babel, right? When God seen the wickedness and he made everyone lose the tongues and had different tongues so they couldn't communicate. I mean, it's about to say that right there. I think so. I see it right there. Constitution Nunes de la Vega was even more specific, saying that what Voltan saw was the Great Wall, the Tower of Babel. In a manuscript written in Quiché, which is the name of the Maya, they weren't called Maya, in 1554 by several Maya Indians, in its Spanish translator, Padre Dionisio José Chané, has this to say: it is supposed in this manuscript that the three great Quiché nations mentioned in particular are descendants of the 10 tribes of the Kingdom of Israel, whom Shalmaneser, and if you don't know who Shalmaneser is, he was the king of Assyria who took us out of the captivity of Israel, and also Tiglath-Pileser, his dad, and Sargon. So those are the three kings in that nation that took us out, right? Continuously right after each other. So they are also credited for bringing some of us here in one voyage. So that has to be concrete set. You know, we have to investigate that more, but that's what you guys are for. Get in it, get with it, you know. All right, so whom Shalmaneser reduced to perpetual captivity, and who, finding themselves in the confines of Assyria, decided to immigrate. The actual text ran: these then were the three nations of Quiché, and they came from where the sun rises, descendants of Israel, of the same language and same customs. So, I mean, this book is juicy, man. I'm just trying to do this to prove that, man, you guys are the descendants of Jacob, of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that the slave, the Afro Mexican, you guys are all connected to these ancient cultures here in America and to the people in the Bible. If you look right here, this right here talks about the when Joshua stopped the sun. When Joshua stopped the sun, that's right here. So if you look right up here, it says he believed in central cloverleaf design representing the legendary Aztec epochs of 4 suns. In the third circle, he recognized the 20 Aztec symbols for the days of the month and the hieroglyph for 4 ocelot. The day when the sun stood at the zenith over Mexico City. As for the 2 enormous stakes, so this saying the day when the sun stood at the zenith over Mexico City. So that's right there being recorded by the people there about Joshua stopping the sun from going down. So this is it right there. This is evidence from hieroglyphs and the calendar stone. This is from the calendar stone. So man, this is deep. I mean, it just goes on and on, man. On and on. You won't be disappointed. The Egyptian pyramids, like, look, this one right here is deep too, because it talks about this one talks about how these Indians or these Aztecs and Mayans were slaughtered, not by war, but by many were slaughtered by diseases. And we got people, Dutch and French writing, saying that they created bioweapons and they were giving it to natives so that they could decimate the strong native populations, so they could easily absorb them and take control of them. So, you know what I mean? This just, all the evidence is there. You know what I mean? Look. I mean, look. Shamanaza. It's all here. So that's the Mexican mysteries of the Mexican pyramid. If you want to go pick that up, go and get that. It's going to be interesting. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your children. They need to know the truth. All right, let's get with it.
Further encouraged the brothers that they were on the right track.
We call it the sacrificial stone. It was big enough for around 6 or 7 foot tall to be laid out on this stone. So it had a drain line. So it actually drained.
So this is Utah.
The find had the brothers reaching for their history books. They quickly learned all about the Aztecs' fondness for blood sacrifice. So had they found the execution site of the slaves?
So they're getting all excited because they found the stone where somebody might have sacrificed on it.
My thought was, dang, this is a place where they sacrifice.
Damn.
The blood could naturally go off the ends of the cliff.
We figured it was that they were probably the Aztecs and that they'd beaten the people.
And when they excavated further into the cliff, they found a set of flat stones.
We'd take that cover stone off, and the hole was completely full of sand. We'd go in and dig out that hole, go down about 8 feet, and then we thought we had a tunnel. Here's the entrance to the cave. Montezumas is just the next shovelful. 2 feet in diameter, just enough for
burial caves.
And guess what we found? Bodies.
Look, this is your people, bruh.
Placed over.
You do genetic testing. You can link them up to
That we
you.
opened up was
That's why these places are national parks. So you can't go up in there and dig.
bones had been catalysts. They'd been
This
eaten.
is your homes, bruh.
The Judd brothers had clearly uncovered a burial ground. But could the bones
I'm
be the
just trying to
remains
show
of
the
Aztec
relevance of this
slaves that had
area.
carried the treasure far from the south? The answer turned out to be no. Carbon dating revealed the skeletons were from around 2000 BC.
All right, so let's go here. So if we look over here, you ever heard of the Golden Spike National Historic Site? It's pounded into head of every American school child over the age of 5. The U.S. Transcontinental Railroad was completed when the Golden Spike was driven at Promontory Summit, Utah, linking the east and the west on May 10th, so they could conquer, manipulate the whole country. This is the connection. Where did they connect it? In Utah. And this place is special, and they understood it. That's why the Mormons had their main base over there. They understood this stuff. And you know why all this thing is happening? Because of this. Dumb Diversus. Dumb Diversus is a papal bull issued on June 18, 1452 by Pope Nicholas. It authorized Alfonso of Portugal to conquer the Saracens and pagans and consign them to perpetual servitude. So when they talk about Saracens, they're talking about like Muslims, Mohammedans. But when they're talking about pagans, they're actually talking about the children of God. So when they came to America, they was trying to capture the children of God, and they called you pagans. Why do you think they call the Europeans that came here pilgrims? What do they call it when they go to the Holy Lands? They call it the pilgrimage. Hey pilgrim, howdy pilgrim. Oh, we're in the pilgrimage. Because America is the Holy Lands, and they conquered it when Christopher Columbus came to America. That's what he did. He killed 300 million. Altogether is billion. But in America, he killed 300 million, at least, Indians under this dumb diversus because he wanted to capture the Holy Lands and Mount Zion. So, if you go right over here, this is what is the contents is: we grant you, kings of Spain and Portugal, by these present documents, with our apostolic authority, full and free permission to invade, search out, capture, and subjugate the Saracens, the pagans, and any other unbelievers and enemies of Christ. So they wasn't saying that you didn't believe in God, because you're the children of the Bible. They're the Creator's flock. So it goes, any unbelievers of Christ, wherever they may be, as well as their kingdoms, duchies. So who's the duchies and the duchies? Those are Edom. So and Edom was right along with us. It says in the Bible. So they not only conquered us, they sent them here to conquer Edom as well. The counties, principalities, and other properties, and to reduce their persons into perpetual slave servitude. They came to marginalize you. What is marginalize? To keep you on the bottom of the caste system. We live in a caste system, people. So that's why they call us pagans. They came here to conquer the Holy Land, when we are the holy people. Look at this. So this is the exegesis of the empire toward a post-colonial reading of Christopher Columbus's El Libro de las Provincias by Jean-Pierre Ruiz, St. John's University. So this is Columbus Quadricentennial in the following words. So this is a correspondence or a whole writing, a biblioteca, to the Pope and to the Queen of England and the King of Spain, the King and Queen of Spain. So all this information is here. You can look it up. I'll give you the link in the video. All right. So this is in 1992, celebrations of the 500th anniversary of the arrival of Christopher Columbus in the New World will be held. Hold on, let me get a drink of water. For the descendants of the survivors of the subsequent invasion, genocide, slavery, ecocide. So they know already the genocide, slavery, and ecocide. They destroyed the eco. And the exploitation of the wealth of the land. They took all your wealth. They took everything you had, left you with nothing, and said you came from Africa. And celebration is not an appropriate observation of this anniversary. The church, with few exceptions, accompany and legitimize this conquest and exploitation. So it tells you a lot of stuff, but we want to get to the meat and potatoes. We get to the meat and potatoes, all right? So here it goes. Among the earliest and most fascinating witnesses to the later is a manuscript of 84 folios, dated between September 13, 1501 and March 23, 1502, and now preserved in the Biblioteca Colombina in Sevilla. It begins, "This is the beginning of the book or collections of authorities, sayings, opinions, and prophecies concerning the need to recover the holy city and Mount Zion, and the discovery and conversion of the islands of the Indies, and of all the people and nations, for Ferdinand and Isabella, our Spanish rulers." So what did it say, ladies and gentlemen? It says recover the holy city and Mount Zion. When they talk about the natives over here. Alright, so it says they go when they when they talk about the pilgrims, they go, "Oh, how the pilgrim?" And when they talk about going to the holy city, they talk about pilgrimage. This is the holy city, and the Mount Zion is here. And Christopher Columbus, he boasted about being he's gonna be the one to conquer it. And guess how long? Look, I mean, these folios are dated between September 13, 1501 to March 23rd, 1502. So it took him less than a year to conquer the holy city at Mount Zion. Less than a year, and he conquered it. So this is deep. This is evidence right here, man. This is a biblical biblioteca. This ain't no freaking just, oh, I printed it up off the internet. This is fake. No. This is in a museum, in a library. Get it or get with it or get gone, man. We gotta get past this. All right. So yeah, that's it. So, I mean, I can go on and on, man, but main thing is that Moab, Utah. Moab, Utah is right here, and it's right here, Utah. Moab, Utah. And this is not Wikipedia. This is city, Moab City, Utah. I think this is the state site. Yeah, Moab City is the government site. So they know, everybody know about us. Moab City, guess where's near this? Mount Nebo, Utah. Oh my goodness. Look, Mount Nebo, Utah. Look how beautiful Mount Nebo looks. Look at that panorama view of Mount Nebo. How beautiful is that? That's majestic. Look at that sign, Majestic Mountain. Look at that. It's Mount Nebo. It doesn't say that Mount Nebo is the highest peak. This is the highest peak in this region of Mount Abraham. This is it, bruh. This is it right here. They're gonna say they named it. Look, watch. Let's see when they named it. Let's play their game. Okay, let's see when they named it. Original surveys place the southern peak at the highest. Name game. Display the name game right up. No, that's not it. But they're gonna say, oh, 1850s, 18 this, 18 that. But you know that they was already talking about this thing being this place in the early 1800s, before they named all this. That's way before. Look at this, Jericho, Utah. I mean, shit. This is where they took us. They used us to build the railroads. Took us trying to get our gold. Look, Jericho is all in this region. We didn't go nowhere.